What's up, everybody? Well, today I am here to show you another vacuum that is in my vacuum collection. Surprise, surprise, it's another Hoover Elite. As many people know, I love Hoover Elites. They're probably my most favorite vacuum out of my vacuum collection, or even when I started collecting vacuums, I knew that I was definitely gonna have a Hoover Elite in my collection. Never thought I would get to having this much. But I always try to snatch one up whenever a good-looking one comes across my path. And this here, I present to you, is a Hoover Elite 300. If some of you who are not familiar with this model of the Hoover Elite, this is essentially a base model version of the Hoover Elite 350. The only difference this has is it has no headlight. It just has a blank for a headlight. And it also does have a little bit different things compared to the Elite 350 models. So how I got this, I actually got this from another vacuum collector on OfferUp. Had some bit of situations with OfferUp not cooperating with us, so it took me a while to get this thing, but now that it's in my collection, here I am to bring it to you guys. So let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the cleaner. Typical late 80s, early 90s style Hoover Elite before they included onboard attachments. These, in my opinion, look a lot more sleek than the 90s style. Not to say that those are bad, it's just these look a lot cleaner without tools on board than later models would. And in my opinion, this honestly makes them a little bit more lightweight than if they were to have tools. So as we look down here, here's your typical soft outer bag for these. This is the lower end style that has the slide top bag instead of the side zip on that started coming out on Elite 350s. To basically get access to the bag on these, you just have to pull it out of this little spring right up here, then slide it off to either side to get access to your inner bag, which typical Hoover fashion, this is a Hoover Type A bag. Very large bags, I will tell you that. You could fill a lot of dirt with these. And as you can see, I'm running a generic HEPA Type A bag for increased filtration, which is honestly a must in today's standards. A lot of people suffer allergies, and unfortunately, this vacuum, being that it is a direct air, meaning it's a fan-first design, they aren't known to have very good filtration from the get-go. Even if you run genuine paper bags on this thing, they still don't filter that good. So definitely, if you can upgrade to the HEPA bags, they are a must. And this is the outer bag design. Very similar to what I've seen on a Hoover Elite 200. I think they use this same style outer bag. And I think even the all-white model of the Elite 350 used this as well. So as we move on down here, you have your Hoover Elite 300 lettering on the front hood, and here's your headlight blank that were to go right there. If this were a 350, you would have had a headlight lens right there. Not a major deal. But anyway, right here is your 2-level quote-unquote automatic height adjustment. Now, the reason why I say quote-unquote is because what you see here is obviously low and high right there, but you will notice, if you heard that sound right there, there is actually a middle notch in between the low and high setting, which is usually where I leave it for the pile of this carpet. So, but anyway, technically this means it has 3 carpet height adjustments instead of just 2. So, yeah, and there isn't this highest carpet height setting. There's actually a little plastic tab that sticks up, preventing it from going any further for the highest carpet height adjustment. I think Hoover actually did this on their higher end Elite 400, which is like this, but essentially the Elite 350, but it has that extra high pile carpet setting. So if this one only has 2. You have right here your edge cleaning lettering on either side. This surprisingly edge cleans very good, even for not having super high enough airflow to get to the side. But the agitation of the brush roll definitely will make up for that. And here is the bumper that is on it right now. Believe it or not, I actually got this with no bumper. So for right now, this is a bumper actually from another Elite of the same era. I just threw it on for this video just to give you an idea of what these would have looked like brand new, because this is the same color bumper that it would have came with when it was new. For whatever reason, the previous owner from the other collector that bought this at the estate sale before I bought it lost the bumper for whatever reason, so I just threw this on for right now. Can't really get it to stay on the best. Alright, maybe that should work. So anyway, I am going to eventually find a different style bumper for this, but this is just on here for the video. And now let's go ahead and show you underneath. For the brush roll, I am running in this. This is a replacement brush roll that was originally out of my commercial Elite. Link to that vacuum in the video, but this I threw in because when I got this, when the seller was sending me videos of it running just so I know that it works, one of the original brush roll, its end cap started melting off, and to which he sent me the brush roll so I could use that as a rebuildable core, but that one has seized bearings that I think started melting the end cap because it was rubbing against the brush roll, so I'm going to have to look into that. I think it's rebuildable, but for right now I put a new set of bearings in this brush roll, as well as some end caps I got from other brush roll bodies right down there. And I threw this in, and it has been working really good. It does have very soft bristles compared to the stiff bristles that the original red bristle had. These older Elites did come with red bristle brush rolls that did have somewhat stiff brush rolls, but they were not as stiff as the white bristle ones. But this one, in my opinion, cleans about as good as a stiff single row brush roll would. Only difference is this is a dual row, so you get a little bit better pickup than a single row when it comes to things like pet hair and that kind of stuff. So it works really good, in my opinion. So now let's go ahead and turn this thing on its back to show you the model number that's barely hanging on right here. I'm gonna have to find some way to glue this down before it falls off even more. So anyway, this is a Hoover cleaner model U4457-900, 120 volts, 60 hertz, has a 5 amp motor. So the motors in these were pretty small, but in my opinion, these have a much more pleasant sound when they're running compared to their later 7 amp counterparts. And the performance, honestly, to me, is about the same. But anyway, here's the serial number for these. To anyone who doesn't know how to serial date these Hoovers, the first 4 digits decode the month and the year that this thing was manufactured. So 11 of 90, so this vacuum was manufactured in November of 1990 for household use only, made in the USA. That is one thing I love about these old Hoovers, is that they're all American made. You'll never see any Hoover that's made in the US today. Mexico, if you're lucky. But for now, I think I've pretty much shown you all around this cleaner. So for now, let's get to the action. The one you have been waiting to see. Let's go ahead and release the power cord, which unfortunately is not very long. I think this is only a 24-foot cord. So it is unfortunately pretty short. And we'll go ahead and turn this thing on and demo it for you guys so you can see how well this thing runs for how old it is. And now, typical Elite fashion, heads up, this thing is pretty loud when it's running, but being it's a lower amperage model, it's not that loud, but it's still pretty loud either way. So headphone users, I advise turning down your volume. So yeah, here's the power switch on the back here. It's a little plastic rod that runs down into where a main rocker switch is in the valley of the motor. So let's go ahead and turn this baby on and we'll give you a demo of it running. This thing runs very nice and smooth. Definitely cleans good, but the only thing I have to complain about this is how short the cord is. As you can see, there's clearly a part. I was at the spot where I ran out of cord for this thing. So, yeah, unfortunately, unless you get a new old stock cord that's much longer, I wouldn't recommend doing this if you had for high traffic areas, because you have to stop and unplug all the time. But what I can show you right now is how these old Elites got attachments back then. Here's a little attachment converter I actually got from my Elite 350, one of them at least. But how this works is you essentially attach it on the bottom end of the cleaner head, or if I can on camera, but it attaches on the bottom and basically stays in place like such. And this is how you get hose for it. Now, one thing I would like to point out, don't expect miracle suction power from this thing, because this is direct air. This doesn't have the highest of suction. Here are all the attachments. The originals I have, or at least that are period correct, are as this upholstery tool and the extension wand. Simply attach in like such, align the tab, then twist this end, lock it in place. One also cool attachment hack that I would recommend for these, if you have one of these older style of Hoover cleaners, the Concept, the Convertible, or even one of these Elites, you can actually use canister attachments for these. These are actually attachments that I pulled from my Wind Tunnel Plus canister, and they fit just fine. They have the same alignment tabs, and you can use it just like normal. That's just amazing. Now let's go and pull this guy off, show you the crevice tool. Works very great. And let me go ahead and get this off. And then the extension wand. And then we'll go ahead and detach this from the cleaner head, or it'll detach itself. And there you have it. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video of the Hoover Elite 300. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.